Tammy Slayton from 1000 LB Sisters, feared stepping out in public even after getting her skin removal surgery for one heartbreaking reason. Tammy, last seen in 1000 LB Sisters Season 7, has undergone a remarkable transformation, shedding over 500 pounds since her peak weight of 725 pounds. Her journey began in 2022 with bariatric surgery, followed by intensive rehabilitation. By April 2024, Tammy reached a weight of 238 pounds, marking a significant milestone. In January 2025, Tammy underwent skin removal surgery, removing over 15 pounds of excess skin. Her progress has inspired many, showcasing her dedication to health and personal growth. Tammy has started to open up about her recovery process after having her extra since removed. Tammy recently shared a TikTok with the text, "Tammy's Screen." Test, the Andy Warhol Museum. She wore a scarf, and her chin was covered with bandages. Tammy appeared confused in the video as she looked around, smiling, sometimes posing, or talking to someone behind the camera. Tammy explained what was really going on in the video in the caption. From the Andy Warhol Museum. Andy Warhol was one of the ones that created a stop-motion pictures, she wrote before adding that she was filming a stop-motion video. Tammy wrote that she was wearing her sister Amanda Halterman's scarf and had earmuffs on to keep herself warm. "I was not trying to make fun of nobody," Tammy shared after someone questioned her attire. She had a feeling someone was gonna say something like always. It appears Tammy was replying to someone who said, "Mashallah, sister," referring to her wearing the head covering. "That's not funny, I hated going out in public looking like this," she revealed, as she explained the video was filmed in the middle of winter, and she was freaking freezing after getting her skin removed. What Tammy Slayton scolding fan means after skin removal. Surgery. Tammy's skin removal recovery brings both relief and ridicule. Excess skin became one of Tammy's biggest insecurities after her dramatic weight loss. She was well aware of how her turkey gobbler looked on TV and in social media photos. The skin around her legs made it difficult to walk upright and even bathe properly. Undergoing skin removal was not easy. It involved multiple surgeries that lasted several hours, and Tammy still has more procedures ahead. Recovery was also a challenge for the former YouTuber, both physically and emotionally. Tammy had her surgery in January 2025, when cold weather can make surgical scars more painful. Scar tissue often becomes more sensitive during winter, increasing discomfort. To protect herself, she wore scarves and earmuffs, knowing her new look might attract criticism. As expected, online trolls mocked her appearance. Tammy, however, was prepared. When she saw a hurtful comment from a fan, she fired back, making it clear she would not tolerate negativity about her transformation. Our take on Tammy Slayton. Opening up about post-surgery struggles. Tammy's honest moment deserves respect. $1,000 LB. Sisters star Tammy's post about her recovery shows a very real and honest side of her. In the TikTok she shared from the Andy Warhol Museum, she wore a scarf and bandages while still healing from surgery. Some people made fun of how she looked, but Tammy explained she was just trying to stay warm and didn't feel good about going out in public. Her response to criticism highlights how vulnerable healing can be in the public eye. Tammy's openness is brave, and it's a reminder that her transformation was an emotional battle, not just a physical change. The sun was high, beating down through the windshield of a quiet Kentucky morning, when Tammy Slayton finally decided she would try to walk into the grocery store alone. It had been 2 months since her skin removal surgery. 2 months of recovery, bandages, bruises, and brutal self-reflection. And yet as she sat there gripping the steering wheel, palms sweaty and heart pounding, she hesitated. Not because she couldn't physically walk through those doors, not anymore, but because she was scared of something far harder to heal from than incisions or scars. The weight of being seen. "I didn't recognize myself," Tammy admits now, speaking softly. but with a kind of firm ownership over her words. Not just in the mirror, but in the way people looked at me. Or didn't. For years, Tammy Slaton was known as one half of the viral reality duo behind 1000 LB Sisters, the TLC series that catapulted her and her sister Amy into a chaotic fame that mingled vulnerability with voyeurism. Viewers tuned in religiously to watch Tammy battle extreme obesity, addiction to food, and the emotional trauma that often lurks behind both. She was sharp-tongued, occasionally defensive, but always honest. Her health struggles were real, and so was her fight. So when Tammy revealed in late 2024 that she had undergone successful weight loss surgery, followed by extensive skin removal, it felt like a triumph not just for her, but for everyone who'd followed her journey. But as she tells it now, the hardest part wasn't the physical pain or the rehab, it was the mirror and the world outside her door. People think the surgery fixes everything, she says, shrugging. But I lost more than skin. I lost a version of myself I'd carried for years. It wasn't vanity. Tammy had long ago accepted that she was different, that people stared, that children whispered. But after the surgery, something shifted. Instead of stares of judgment, she was met with confusion, pity, or worse, indifference. The world had been used to categorizing her, the big one, the sick one, the one who needs help. Without that armor of expectation, she suddenly felt exposed in an entirely new way. It's like I had disappeared, and no one told me, she says. What many people don't understand about extreme weight loss, especially after bariatric and skin removal, surgery, is that the transformation isn't just physical, it's existential. Skin that once cushioned Tammy from the outside world was gone. Stretch marks, scars, folds, gone. And in its place, silence. Strangers stopped offering unsolicited advice. Children didn't point, but the absence of attention didn't feel like freedom. It felt like I didn't exist, she says. Tammy recalls a moment just weeks after her surgery. She went to the local mall to buy a new pair of jeans. I was so excited, she says, because I'd never worn jeans off the rack, not in my whole life. But the moment she walked into the store, anxiety gripped her. She looked around and realized something she hadn't anticipated. She was no longer exceptional. I used to be stared at because of my size. Now I was just another overweight woman in a store. It was jarring, she says. And I didn't know how to be that person. This complicated relationship with identity is something many post-weight loss patients experience. The body changes, but the mind takes longer to catch up. Dr. Mia Rodriguez, a psychologist specializing in body dysmorphia and weight loss recovery, explains that this is common. Your body was part of your narrative, Dr. Rodriguez says. When you lose that identity, even if it was painful, there's grief, and no one warns you about that. For Tammy, grief came in quiet ways. She stopped going out unless it was necessary. She deleted social media apps from her phone. And, despite encouragement from fans and family, she found herself retreating inward. I hated going out in public, she says. Not because I didn't look good, but because I felt invisible. It wasn't until a conversation with her sister Amy that Tammy began to shift her thinking. Amy, herself having undergone surgery and public scrutiny, reminded Tammy of a hard truth. You didn't do this for them, Amy told her. You did this so you could breathe easier, walk farther, and live longer. That stuck. Tammy started small, walks around the block, shopping at off-peak hours, saying hi to neighbors again. She began journaling, documenting not just what she ate, but how she felt each day. Slowly, she reclaimed her reflection, not just in the mirror, but in her life. These days, Tammy still doesn't love going out in public, but she's learning. I'm not the old me, she says, but I'm not the new me yet either. I'm in between. It's a kind of metamorphosis rarely shown on television screens or celebrated in transformation montages. The messy, human, vulnerable middle ground. She's also begun speaking out about the emotional toll of extreme weight loss, hoping to start a more honest conversation. "We need to talk about what happens after the surgery," she insists, "because that's where the real work begins." In the end, Tammy Slaton is not disappearing. She's redefining, rebuilding, and most of all, reclaiming the space she occupies, not because of her size, or her fame, or her past, but because she's here, still standing, still healing. "I thought I hated going out because of how people looked at me," she says now. "But really, I hated that I wasn't ready to be seen. Now, I think I'm getting there." And with that, she opens the door, steps outside, and walks forward, not as a spectacle, but as a survivor. Would you like a version styled more like a social media caption, blog post, or something more personal from Tammy's POV?